Joe Rinaldi. How are you, sir?
Thanks so much, you guys. I appreciate the attention you guys are paying to this whole what are the clubs doing in the pandemic situation.
Yeah, we've been aware that the Casbah's been doing some streaming and whatnot, but there's been none of that at the Music Box, right?
No, we did L1011 in December. We did a bunch of stuff at the outset. We did the Band Together series with the same but different folks, and then we did a K-Bong and some other ones. But it's tough. You guys were talking about this earlier. That's an expensive venue. Like, to turn the lights on, even to do a streaming event, especially during COVID with all the protocol, costs just a little bit too much money for it to be useful to the bands that we'd want to reach out to.
Yeah, I can imagine. It's a lot different than the Casbah.
Right. Or just streaming from Coomers or the Poorhouse or something like that. It's a lot simpler to just kind of throw somebody on stage and go.
Well, we're happy because the Music Box is there. It's not going anywhere at this point, obviously. I mean, we're going to get to go see shows at the Music Box again, right?
Well, first of all, knock on wood.
Yeah.
I am.
Yeah. Hey, there's a lot of light at the end of the tunnel. We want to do this thing safely, but man, do we want to do it? It's no secret that we're out there starting to talk to bands about what we could do if we could get 50% capacity, and we're hoping that there's a version of that for May or June, and if there is, we'll be there trying to do it. But the economics, like we were just talking about with the streaming, are super important to understand. Like, that's it. If it's less than 50% capacity, that's why we can't open. We were the first to close. We're going to be the last to open, and that's why. Just there's no way to operate 700-person venues with 200 or 175 people in them. It just doesn't work.
Right, it's such a struggle that if you have a little small place, you can only get a few people in there with the guidelines. So you think, okay, how about one of the bigger places? Let's just have one of those 1,500-person venues, 700-person venues, have like 200, 300, 500 people in it, and we'll all be good. And it just seems to race away from your hands to be able to pull it off. But what can people do to help?
I think the best thing that people can do is think about themselves and do things safely. And I can't stress enough, if we did a nationwide 6-week mask lockdown right now because we're having so much good success with the vaccine, we would be Australia in 6 weeks. And it's just we're just not there, and we can't seem to unify around a cause like that. And I wish we could, because there's some answers there. And that's where I think people's heads could be. But doing stuff for us, the best thing we can do is get the population to be able to move around freely, because that's what it's going to take. We're in that last open crowd. It requires there to be not so much emphasis on social distancing for our venue to work.
So when this first happens and we're first able to even do any kind of shows, I mean, it's going to be a while before touring bands make it to town. I mean, are you guys going to be doing local shows? Those would seem to make sense, maybe with a smaller crowd potentially. You could do some local bills at the Music Box, and it would be safe and socially distanced and probably perfect. Maybe.
Well, my dream is to have 15 Dirty Sweet shows in June and July.
Right.
Well, that would be amazing, because it's been a while since those guys have played. And everybody's itching to play. Everybody's itching to get out. I am really excited that the local music scene is going to get an overwhelming amount of support in those initial months, because there won't be a Tame Impala coming to San Diego or a Strokes, or, you're going to have to go see the Schizophonics, the Creepy Creeps. Maybe Rocket will do a local show, Dirty Sweet. I mean, you're going to have to go see Modern History, Aviator Stash. It's going to be a local music scene and community, and I'm hoping people embrace that opportunity. It might be kind of a neat, special moment in time that won't be repeated.
Right.
Support local music.
Not just that, but that's the most necessary thing to happen right now. That those are the people that need the most revitalization out of anyone.
Right.
You know, we've got to like lift all boats from the bottom at this point, and you know, that group of people, we need to pay special attention to that group of people first anyway. What else are they going to be able to do without live music playing? They're not selling records like Tame Impala.
Right.
So let's get this economy going first, and it seems like the right thing to do.
I know they just announced Dinosaur Jr. February 22 of next year. That's like the first big concert announcement that 91X has done, and they're going to tour. But again, It's not until February of next year. But there are a bunch of dates prior to that where they're all over the country before they get to San Diego. So something's been announced.
Right. So tell us about the organization, Joe, the San Diego chapter that you're working with.
Well, I mean, there's a national, it's called NIVA, the National Independent Venues Association, and right now the Grammys just had Trevor Noah shout out NIVA as they were announcing bands playing for the Grammys at the Troubadour. Like, we're getting a level of press attention that this type of venue, the types of venues like the Casbah, Brick by Brick, and Belly Up, never otherwise would get. And it's based out of need, but that NIVA organization has done a great job of getting legislation through Congress and getting some relief that's in the pipeline. We haven't gotten anything. We're still on fumes, but at some point that organization has put together a grants package, or basically a disaster relief package to get these guys to make it to the other side. And then what we've done is within the state and within San Diego County, we've gotten organizations together to lobby with the state legislatures, the governor, on reopening and what we could do within the state budget process, but then also within the San Diego County and city process, what we could possibly do to lend support to the 40 clubs that are in our county that fall within this independent venues classification. And, you know, my role in all this was to find all of them and to be sure that they were aware that there was light at the end of the tunnel and that there were programs that were trying to support them, and that this was essentially an arts initiative, that this category of businesses, you know, everyone knew their special plight, and that we were trying to figure out a way to put a solution in place so that each one of them could make it to the other side. We weren't successful. I mean, we all know that, you know, Bar Pink and Martinis Over Fourth and venues like that won't be with us on the other side, but we maybe use that as our war cry and our motivation, and said, let's not let another venue go out, and let's get with all these guys and get their books in order and get their grant process in order and get some relief in the pipeline.
Right. So there's it's just helping people know that there's federal money out there and state money out there, and you know, so a group of business people getting together that kind of do the business end of clubs and talent buying, really saying, hey, we've pulled it together. Here, let us help you get some of the money that you deserve, even though it hasn't come through yet, but you've got that all set up and in place. It's really amazing that you guys have done that.
Right. The level of the guys who are running these clubs, and it's always a labor of love. You're not Gordon Gekko running a venue in San Diego County. You know, this is just the stuff that you love to do. But that group, and then the 400, maybe 800 people who that's what they do for a living. You know, security, bar back, sound guy, the guys who work in these venues, and let's not, like we had started this conversation with, forget the entire community artists. Like, support starts in the club world by thinking about those individuals, and like one way to do it is to be sure that these clubs can be an ecosystem on the other side.
Yeah, Tim and I realized and have talked a lot about this, that you know, our friend base, all of our friends and acquaintances, I'm sitting there realizing that, okay, music has stopped, but a lot of those people I know that are in bands are that bar back, or are that sous chef or bartender or cook, or even a bouncer or a sound guy sometimes at another venue. And so every opportunity they had just completely stopped. everywhere where some of these working musicians, go to make their daily wage or their weekly wage, all just shut down. So it's just devastating across the board, and it's wonderful that you're sticking with it. There's some, like a sense of persistence there. People think like, oh, well, I looked online, I couldn't figure it out, and I don't know how to fill out the information. And to have this organization driving things forward to help the ones that are going to make it to the other side really start with a bang is wonderful.
Yeah, and you highlighted on something that is super important. You two, Lou and Tim, I mean, you guys have kept the lamp on running this particular show, and here we are, in the 12th month. This is an important situation. Like, how else are we going to carry on, like, what all of us had intended, like, supporting live music, supporting this ecosystem, having, people that we endeavor to support, the Redwoods group, the Dirty Sweets of the world, the Rocket from the Crypts of the world, those groups, like, being sure that they know that, like, hey, this thing is going to carry through.
We love what you do. We're very excited to support the San Diego Independent Venue Association and, of course, the National Independent Venue Association. And, of course, the cover story. I love how we're kind of looking at your ass on the cover of the reader, but they actually put a font over it, so we don't get a real good look at your behind. But Joe Rinaldi was the cover boy on the reader a few weeks ago. Have you ever been on the cover of the reader before and not your face?
I've been working out.
I knew exactly.
Good enough.
I knew right away when I saw that cover. I'm like, wait a minute, I know that guy.
I know that dude. I've stood behind him at a show many times. Well, Joe, we can't wait to see you. Can't wait to get back to the Music Box, a really nice venue. What an amazing place. I think we were supposed to do a big Louis XIV show, like right before and right after the COVID thing, and I'm really bummed we didn't get to do that. But looking forward to all the great shows that are going to happen down there, and of course we're happy to help and keep us posted of what's going on with the SDIVA and of course the Music Box, and we'll hang out soon. Joe, you're doing good, right?
I'm doing great. Thanks so much for all the support. I really appreciate you guys giving us time tonight.
It's awesome. It's something that's so important to us, and San Diego's always struggled for great venues and bands to come here, and it's because of the hustle for people like you, Joe, and Tim Mays that make this a better place, and these are people that are behind the scenes in a lot of cases. You got to be grateful for what you do. So thanks so much, Joe, and you have a great week.
Take care, man.
All right.
We're going to play a block of the Downs Family for you because we know you like green beer, and it's St. Patrick's Day this week, Mr. Rinaldi. So happy St. Patrick's Day.
Happy St. Patrick's Day.